Welcome to ShovelTalk, a podcast for economic developers. From your friends at the Golden Shovel Agency.
Welcome back, Shovelheads, to another episode of Shovel Talk. I am producer Darren. On this episode, Bethany sits down with Michael Espiritu, President and CEO of the Roswell-Chaves County, New Mexico Economic Development Corp. They talk workforce attraction, specifically targeting the extraterrestrial. I kid. No, they talk about how going above and beyond is driving success in Roswell. Great discussion, a wonderful client. Take it away, Bethany.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Shovel Talk. I am your host, Bethany Quinn, president of Golden Shovel, and I am so excited to be here today with Mike Espiritu, who is president and CEO of the Roswell-Chaves County Economic Development Corporation. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Good morning.
Mike, you have been a Golden Shovel client for a while and always love the conversation, but I'm really excited because you have so much insight to share with our listeners who are often economic developers that are newer to the industry and love to learn from people who have the experience like you do. Before we begin, I kind of want to give everybody an opportunity to learn more about your background. So we do have your bio. You can obviously add to it, though. You have been in economic development for a while, but before that, you actually were in the United States Air Force. You were a Command Chief Master Sergeant. You retired in what, 01?
That's correct.
Okay. So economic development is your second career, so to speak.
Well, actually, between that period of time when I retired from the Air Force, I actually taught at a high school as junior RTC, and I created a program. That's why I retired, was to have the ability to do that with young people, and it gave me a deep sense of what it'd like to be in a school setting again, especially, where young people are headed after they leave the doors of school when they graduate, and what that meant to the workforce. It gave me that insight that I just didn't have, and it really helped me be more successful, I think, with what I do now as an economic developer.
That's really interesting. And, I feel like you could look at that from both perspectives. One is someone who transitioned out of the military, right? That is a huge potential for workforce right there. People who have skills, who have that career readiness already. And then obviously looking at the K-12 system. So that's definitely an interesting perspective that you bring to economic development.
Yeah. And one other thing too, at the same time, I was a general contractor. I was design, build custom homes. So I have some construction experience as a builder and developer and an architect. So I've got, and all this kind of really helped me move towards economic development. I didn't even realize it. It's just what the pathways were taking me. So it gives me a good sense of what the market needs are, and kind of be able to speak to it and understand it more clearly, more importantly.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting. We always ask people how they came to economic development because it's one of those professions that most people aren't aware of when they're going to school. And so you kind of end up stumbling into it somehow. And I didn't realize that you were also a developer. So you had that experience to bring to the table as well. So with all of those backgrounds, what even made you interested in applying for the position?
Well, I couldn't spell economic development when I was pursuing this. I was on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors.
Okay.
And the director was leaving, and I was at the high school teaching RTC year round, by the way, not just in the normal months. And when the staff called me, said I should apply for the job to take over as director of the chamber. I go, well, gosh, why do I want to do that when I've got this great job work with young people and I really enjoyed it?
Sure.
Anyway, the staff called me, and to me that meant something.
Yeah.
And so they were doing a national search. I interviewed, and then they said, we would like you to be our chamber director. I said, okay, well, that's great. She goes, but we also have an interview for you set up as also the director of our Economic Development Corporation. I go, so that's 2 full-time jobs.
Right.
So I did that for a number of years, and I started doing this in 2007. And I didn't, like I said, I couldn't spell economic development, had no idea what it was all about, but ran a chamber of commerce, became certified as a chamber director with U.S. Chamber, and also my career in the economic development profession as a master practitioner. So I am thrilled to be part of a community that makes a difference.
And that is such an incredible opportunity to be in this role, is that you can make that mark on your community that lasts for decades to come. And you obviously were doing that at the high school by influencing young people. Now that influence is even greater. And that's one of the things, though, that I do encourage boards to consider. If any board members are listening to this podcast, is when you're doing your search, sometimes look within your community and see who's passionate, who loves the community and might have the aptitude for the job, but just doesn't have the specific economic development experience.
I agree. I think it's about attitude. If a person has some great experiences that may be outside of what you would normally think of, but certainly contribute to the success of the organization, because construction is a big part of what we do, with real estate development and land sale, buildings, so on. I mean, that's a big piece of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And workforce development is another huge, especially since COVID, is another big part of who we are. So for me, that was, I think, very successful. And a degree in logistics that I have, I can certainly understand a lot of barriers and challenges in that side of it. So from an economic development perspective, I'm very fortunate to have the experiences I've garnered and learned along the way to be where I'm at today in good old Roswell, New Mexico.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting because you can actually have conversations, I'm sure, with people who are making those real estate decisions, people who are making expansion decisions, and address the things that really matter to them because you've been in their shoes.
Agreed. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's how can we support those people so we, at the end of the day, become more successful and grow our communities.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to also talk, of course, about your community. And for everyone listening, I did say Roswell, and it's the Roswell. You are famous world over. Obviously, there's so much more to Roswell than aliens, but you are famous. So I guess that's a good thing, right? People actually know who you are when you mention the community.
Well, there's very few people I've met that have not heard of Roswell, New Mexico, and alien encounter. And once you get past, the chuckles and what have you, and the rhetoric, it's fun to just kind of joke about it.
Sure.
Talk about, well, what else are we all about? Because that's where my job is how can I coach people and inform them, but really coach. I won't say educate, but coach them on who we are and what we are and why. We're an area that people should consider, especially consultants, for a new location or expansion.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, quality of life wise, the alien reputation, actually, you have a lot of fun stuff that happens in your community because of that with festivals. But, in addition to that, we were lamenting about the weather prior to recording this, right? And you mentioned it was 72 degrees yesterday. You guys have golf courses and so much outdoor activity, right?
I golf every weekend here because the weather is so good, and rarely do I not be able to go outside and walk or ride my bicycle. There's a lot of outdoor activities here and a lot of other, we have 7 museums in Roswell. We have a zoo. We have so many things for what's considered a rural community. That's, I won't say extraordinary, but it's different, right? And not every community is like any other community, but Roswell's really unique that way. Yes, a lot of festivals, a lot of events, parades, a lot of great activities for people. And that quality of life is real important. We have 2 hospitals here in Roswell.
Oh, wow.
One's a regional, but they both are considered regional hospital. One is quite larger than the other. So we have a lot of opportunity that supports. We have a great college here, community college here, and with programs that really support, the development of educational opportunities for people. So it's a good place. People love it here. We don't worry about water here, which is really weird for being in the desert.
That is rare.
We have 2 natural recharging aquifers, so we don't worry about having the issues with water. Do we still protect it? Absolutely. And we have a lot of other great things that make Roswell a great place, because we're an agriculture community too, which I didn't know. When I came here 6 years ago. I thought, well, they've got this great ear center, and let's move towards how we can help it. But Roswell's so much more in the quality of life, great things for people, that that I didn't expect.
I always think that's such a fun part of our job at Golden Shovel because we do support so many communities. I love finding out those unique things about places that you wouldn't expect, right? That isn't part of that reputation. For example, you brought about the fact that you have aquifers that recharge in abundant water. That's not something that people would traditionally assume, right, for your location.
Well, you can fly to Roswell on American Airlines out of Dallas, and now we have flights starting in this month, February, between us and Denver with United.
Oh, great.
And the reason I say that is when you fly over Roswell, you see all these vast pecan orchards. I mean, just trees. I mean, and why is that? Because we have water. We have
Sure.
we have dairies here because of water, and we have the world's largest mozzarella cheese factory or plant, if you will, right here in Roswell. Why? Because of all the dairies. Now, you didn't know that either.
I did not. No, you see my face. I'm actually shocked by that, right? You think of Wisconsin or something. You definitely don't think about Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's quite a unique a region, not just Roswell, but Chaves County that, because I serve the entire county, but this entire region is just amazing. Amazing in that regard.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more that I'm going to be excited to learn about. I'm going to dig into it more after this. But hey, I do want to talk about your role as an economic developer in the community. And one of the things that I know you have spoken about is the need to manage expectations as far as what you're able to achieve. And you've achieved a lot. So, I mean, you're doing very, very well. We're going to talk about a lot of those things. But how do you manage expectations at home so people are on board with the small wins and not just focused on those home runs?
Well, I think there's a couple real important pieces to that. One is you have to be engaged and be present. People, sadly, and I had this conversation with someone just this morning, when people don't know what the facts are, they have a tendency to create their own. And that's where you have to really, again, coach people and educate people on what the truths are. And I think that you have to be engaged in your community, and that's not only with your local business community, but also your elected bodies to make the rules that we live with, right? So, and not that you become a politician, but you generate those relationships and build those so people have a better sense of community. Yes, we've been really successful here in Roswell, with a lot of great wins. But, it's not these great big wins. And we've had a couple of really nice ones, but we've got some small ones too. And, when I think in economic developer terms, it's those singles and doubles like in baseball. It's a lot easier to get a single and double versus that home run or grand slam. And you have to find out what fits your community, what fits in Roswell.
Right.
I mean, to bring in a 1,000 job company, it sounds great, but golly, how are you going to support it? What makes sense for your community? And yeah, I think you have to control that narrative, because people say, well, geez, where's our fancy Amazon, which we did, but where's our fancy this and that, or this big box store that's going to create all these hundreds of jobs? Well, you've got to look at what can your community really support? What can they really do? I mean, does it make sense for the company? Because if it doesn't, the company will falter or fail, and then you're left with a bigger problem. So I think it's about managing those expectations by talking with people, engage with them, let them know what the facts are. And they may not understand or agree, and not understand, they may not agree with you, but that's what the facts are,
Right.
And sometimes it's not a rosy picture, and sometimes you just got to tell them the truth and say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do, but this is what we can try to do. I think it's finding the solutions, and I won't say I'm not a no guy. I'm a yes guy, but I'm a solutions person. And that is, how can we find a way to make it work if it's really doable? And a really good example is the National Championship Air Race. Was that really doable? We'll talk about that in a minute, I think.
Yeah, we are. I'm excited to get and talk about that one. But I do want to talk about, going back to those singles and doubles analogies. And I think you and Nathan had to collaborate on that because anyone who listens to this knows I'm horrible with sports analogies. But with going back to the singles, let's say this example right here. I know you were able to work with equipment share, for example, and that created 25 new jobs. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that because that's probably what you're talking about, right? Those smaller
Sure.
wins.
The smaller ones that really, dynamically fit from a numbers perspective as far as job creation. Like if you go to a large city like Dallas, you don't expect to get big manufacturing plants or Chicago, with thousands of jobs. But in a rural community, let's be real, you can't support something like that. Where are you going to get the people? You're going to magically dream up 1,000 people that are going to go to work with all the skill sets needed by the company. So yes, Equipment Share was a company that they were doing a search. I responded to an RFP. I knew that it fit our community for a lot of different aspects, and they did too. And so they are expanding into New Mexico. It's 25 to start. Might be more than that, which is good. Because you want to create that pathway for the talent pathway for that human enterprise, right? So 25 jobs is good, but what can we create at our community college to help create the new disciplines to help feed into that company so they continue to grow and be successful? They're opening 8 more locations. We're one of the 8, and in this entire Western region, out of Arkansas, looking for, Missouri. That's another company out of Missouri. And, but yeah, the 25 jobs, every job's important.
Right.
If you can help an opportunity for one person to get that job, then I think you're successful. Give an example, another single, if you will, Arkansas, who I just mentioned. They called me up because they were trying to find a location in this area because they really wanted to be here for their customers. And within 10 days, fastest project we've ever done, 10 days, they did a site visit, we secured the land, and they've hired 2 people here in Rocky.
In 10 days.
10 days. And
oh my goodness.
Yep. And I've helped them with all their licensing, everything they needed, because that's what we do. Again, solutions driven. Right. How can we, if you want to be here, how can I make it work for you and make it work for us? And so they've hired 2 people and they're being trained this week and they're going to be working. So
that's remarkable.
Yep. So
so I have to do a follow-up here, Mike. Anyone who's listening, again, you got a lot of new economic developers listening. 10 days is miraculous. This is unicorns we're talking about here. That's insane. But the concept of it, though, I think other people could learn from. Like, what did you do to prepare to make it even possible for you to move with that speed?
Well, I believe when you get a phone call or a request for information, I believe in take care of it immediately. You always have lots of stuff on your plate. You've got a lot of things to do. You've got an organization you have to run. You've got staff. If you have staff, you have to worry. I mean, there's things that you do. You have meetings and board meetings and on and on and on. But every one of those potential projects require attention. And I believe that if you get a call, I need a call back within 24 hours. Make a call, at least learn about it and see if it makes sense, because it may not make sense or it may not seem real, and sometimes they're not real, but if they are, you don't know. So but if you don't make that contact back and get information and see where they're headed, you can't serve them and you can't serve your community. I think you have to take time. You just have I know it's hard because we all have time drama, right? We don't have enough of it, so we have to find a way around that poverty by finding the time to give information and move forward. In this case, they just know that they have a big clientele base in this area. They needed to serve and they needed some help. Again, solutions driven. What can we do to help you? Well, you need land, you need a building, you need this, we did all that. He goes, wow, we've never had help like this before. And I think that's what makes you feel pretty good about your ability, your company's ability, our organization's ability, EDC, to be helpful, because at the end of the day, it's going to help our town. We just put 2 people to work today. I'm 2 people, 2 jobs, but people that are employed no longer unemployed. So singles and doubles, well, like I said, one job's important, two jobs, and that's going to grow because this is going to be
Right.
their Western expansion. They're from Arkansas, so they do government contracts. I know they're going to grow, but you got to
Well,
start
and that's the
somewhere.
point, right? It might be a single initially, but that's what BR&E programs are all about, right? Is how do you continue to provide the support so they can grow over time? And if you have a lot more of those small wins that you can grow over time, you may end up with more jobs at the end anyway than just getting that one large company in the door.
Well, and you're right, and you're right about BRNE because we have a BRNE program, and we visit 20 businesses every month. 20.
Oh, great.
And we track it. I mean, we have a spreadsheet. We know exactly. You know what I'm looking for. Obviously, the obvious reasons for BREs is make sure that there's no red flags. We're going to go out of business. But
Sure.
also, how can you grow and expand? How can you help them grow and expand? And if you identify any adverse trends or things that maybe impact him, like maybe so and so's give them a hard time about this permit or this or that, right? And then you find out is that a trend? Are other people seeing the same thing?
Sure.
And then you can go towards finding the solutions with whether it's the city or the county or whomever, and resolve those so they continue to stay in business, number one, and two, go expand, hopefully, but at least stay in business. But we have a pretty strong program in that regard, and pretty proud. We used to do a lot more than that, but it's hard. And
Sure.
But we do 20 religiously, and they're not. And we're a membership organization. We're funded by by members and the city and the county. But I will tell you that we don't visit just members. We visit everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. And we do by industry. We
Sure.
actually plan it by industry type, and we actually go out and do that. So very, very rigorous process that we use to do that. And I have two people to do that. They split it up and they contact folks, and yeah, it works. It works.
It does. It does. And I think it's going to be even more important this year and next. I mean, we're really seeing trends just across the country where there's a lot of not just requests, but demands now, right? From boards and community supporters to make sure EDCs are doing work to support the businesses who are in the community.
Well, I think, and that's a really good point too. And that is that transparency piece. And now sometimes that word's overused, but I think from my perspective, if people don't know what you're doing and what you're capable of doing to help them, then I think you might miss a mark. You've got to, I think, in my opinion, you've got to get people information. Yeah, you've got to ensure they know. I'm kind of going all over the place. People need to know what services you can provide to help them be successful.
Right. Because
when you're a small business or entrepreneur and you're trying to break out for the first time, it's a puzzle palace out there. Do I need this? Do I need that? How do I get this? Do I need a permit? Do I need an environment? I mean, the list can be quite lengthy depending on what you're trying to do. And then your elected officials and your members and your board, they all want to know, well, what are you doing?
Right.
You may have got that big project or even that little project. Okay, well, that was last week. What's this week? Right.
Sure.
I mean, and so it's that transparency is how do you get information out? How do you tell people your success stories so they say, oh, well, ADC helped them. They could probably help us too.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so critical, right? And one of the things at Golden Shovel, and this, obviously being a Golden Shovel client, is not only just when we create a website for someone, but the dedicated copywriter that we assign to every client. That's one of the things that we're always asking for. Hey, what success do you have in your community? Even if it's a small win, if somebody created one new job from your BR&E visits or whatever it is, what are those success stories that we can write about and share? Because it's absolutely about creating the understanding of what you do in a way that's relatable. And I think that's the problem with economic development, right? Is so much of it comes down to numbers and data that people don't understand, they can't grasp. But when you're talking about how you helped a company find their land, get a building, hire 2 people in 10 days, well, if I'm an entrepreneur and I read that and I'm looking for a solution quickly, I know I can pick up the phone and call you, because I saw what you did for them.
Exactly right. And I think that's why BRE or you have to be available. It's hard, right? Because you're so, again, that time poverty. But I think you got to find some time to do all that. Now, I will tell you, I do email 24/7, I think, pretty much. And I'm working a lot, but that's what it takes. It takes,
Yeah.
because we're a small office, right? And we have there's three of us. And you do what you can, but it's kind of like, here's a baseball analogy for you. So it's kind of like playing shortstop, okay, in baseball. You know what that is? Shortstop? You probably heard
I
of it.
think that's the one in between the pitcher and the rest of the people on the bases.
So
Maybe.
between second and third base,
Okay.
shortstop, but the majority of balls are hit in that area.
Okay.
And the shortstop has a really busy job, and he probably gets a lot of the outs right in that area. Okay.
Sure.
So I feel I feel like we're playing shortstop. I play shortstop.
Yeah.
I want to get out there and get as much as I can to be successful. And I can't, if I'm not playing shortstop, then I don't think I'm doing my job.
Sure.
I want to sit back and play in a position that doesn't get as much activity. I want to be in a position that has the activity so I can help produce results and help people, help companies, because that's why I'm here.
Right.
And at the end of the day, what does that do? It makes a better town. Town flourishes, better parks, better roads, better. I mean, the kids are playing, and I mean, I know it sounds like some dream, like with the rainbows and the unicorns, but it's really, how do you create that opportunity to really build a good, successful community that's thriving?
Right.
Because if you're not moving forward, you're dying, right? So, what can we do to make our community thrive? And it's those things that makes kids happier and more successful people having great jobs. And I'm just blabbering on and on now, but my point is this: you have to play shortstop and do all you can and get all you can. And, although it seems difficult and so challenged, you just can't get there. You've got to put your best foot, and then use your resources. You can't do it all yourself.
Right.
Know where to go to get help.
Right.
Yeah, it's team sport.
And that is really critical. There's no way you can do it by yourself, especially, I mean, like you said, you have an office of 3. That's pretty normal to have 2 or 3 people on a team.
Yeah.
You have to work with your partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think that's wonderful. And I don't think that it sounds like unicorns and dreams. I mean, I would hope that most people in economic development do the work because they see the potential to impact lives and to impact families. And, if you're somebody who, road trips across the country, you can see the communities where they didn't have proactive economic development, where you can see the empty buildings, the streets that have boarded up, places downtown where the plans weren't put in place to make the community resilient, right? So they lose a major employer and never bounce back. And that's a tragedy. No community should ever have to go through that. And I think that's one aspect of what you're doing in your approach that we haven't really talked about, is the fact that it also helps to create that economic resilience because you're spreading out the jobs around way more companies and more industries rather than just having 1 or 2 concentrations.
Well, and it creates excitement within your own community because they see things happening. The citizens see things happening. And for example, you talk about shuttered buildings, right? Well, and you see weeds growing through the cracks in the sidewalks. Well, that disappears because when things are happening, people become not only excited, but they take ownership.
Yeah.
They want their town to look good. They want their town to be successful because when it is, they are, and vice versa, right?
Right.
And that's why I think economic developers have a distinct role in helping cultivate those opportunities. Because for me, it's about passion, right? In this case, it's passion for the town to be successful and grow and really be something great, something more bigger than they thought they could ever be.
Sure.
And that's why, again, when I get to the air race part, that discussion, that's what that created was, wow, we can't believe that this is in Roswell.
And I think we should talk about that right now. Great segue. So I've actually really been so excited about this conversation because for those who have not been paying attention to the national championship air races, you won that project. And that is a major deal, having taken that from Reno. But I would love for you to tell the story about the extra effort that you put in to get that, because I I know the story, and the creativity that you brought to that, I think is really exciting. I'd love for you to share the whole story if you don't mind.
Thank you. It was about a 2-year recruitment to get the air races to Roswell. So they've been in Reno for 60 years, 60 years.
Wow.
And actually Reno said, hey, we can't support you. You probably need to look for a new home. That's how it started.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I saw that in a news feed. I was sitting in an airport in Dallas, waiting for an airplane, doing some email. I get a news feed on my computer that they were looking for a new home. And I said, I'm going to just call them. I mean, I only got maybe a half hour. So I called the Reno Air Racing folks. And by the way, they're known as Rah Rah. And when the young lady answered the phone, she said Rah Rah. And I thought I got a high school cheerleader or something on there.
Funny.
I thought I got wrong number. Anyway, I said, hey, I'm Mike. I'm from Roswell. You need to have your new home in Roswell, New Mexico. And she goes,
nice.
Why would I want to do that? She goes, well, I saw the news feed. She said, oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to be looking for a new home. And so I said, well, we're the place, right?
Right.
And she goes, well, you're the first one that's called. I'm not sure what to do with this information, right? So send us an email. So I'm trying to punch out a sales, if you will, a marketing email, say why they need to come to Roswell, New Mexico out of Reno. And at the end of the day, they started getting more responses, and they put out an RFP. So the first thing I did was, when I got on the plane flying back to Roswell, I was thinking I probably should tell my mayor what I just did.
Sure.
My board chair and chairman, which I knew they would both be just thrilled, and they were.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if it's a good fit for us, but I think we need to look at it. And they agreed. And so I formed teams of people, groups of people, expertise with people right in Roswell. And then the Rah folks put out an RFP, got a company that helped respond to and so we funded the EDC, we funded everything. And
you did, okay.
Because the board believed that if we didn't, the impact would be so significant, what we would pay would be minuscule. And it was. Many teams. We went to Reno, took a team to Reno, we did some research, we responded to the RFP. They came for 3 site visits. We competed with 38 other cities across the country. We had our first event in 25, just this past September. But we did a lot of really unique marketing things. We did all kinds of things. When they came for site visit, I had a regional event welcome at our convention center. We had about 300 people there to welcome them to
oh, wow. So you had 300 people lined up for when they arrived.
Yep.
Wow.
We had a red carpet when they came off the airplane. We were there it was a full court press, if you will. That's a basketball term, but we were all out. We were all out to win it. When I had one of the city councilors say, we could do this. And he is the guy that will tell you the truth. And in his opinion, he goes, if we could do it, he would have said, we're not doing this.
Sure.
But he says, we could do this. Well, and we did. So that's what we went to work on. When we came, we went a lot of events. I took them out. I went to every city in the region. I went to chambers of commerce, economic developers, mayors, city councilors, and nothing but 100 support from everybody.
Nice.
Obviously, there's always going to be, we may have some challenges in some periods of time when they would be in New Mexico, but nothing but support. And that was important because I knew going in that we didn't have everything they needed. We're not a Reno. We don't have casinos and all these hotels and all these restaurants. We're a rural community. But I knew because of what I do that from a region, we could do it and we could all benefit. And that's exactly what happened. It became a regional event. So when they came in, the mayor give them a key to the city. It was crazy. And they were shouting rah rah like it was at a pep rally in a high school. And it was the energy was just dramatic. When they came here, I'll even tell you that we had one dinner. We had many dinners, but one dinner we had menus. They were named after all the different pilots and different classes of racing. It was all the same meals, but we renamed them just for that night on their menu. And we had all kinds of stuff about aliens. We had stuff about all the history of aviation, because Roswell is really an aviation community.
Right.
We have an airport that was an Air Force asset, turned over to the city in 1967, with the longest runways in the country. You can land anything on it, including probably spaceships, I guess. But it's so long that it was really so helpful for what we were trying to do.
Sure.
So they came, like I said, 3 site visits and many other visits. We brought the chairman of the site selection committee to town to be a keynote speaker at our annual meeting. Before we did so many things to make them know that they were welcome. Now, I will tell you,
I had heard that I don't know if this is correct or not. Did you even put up like signs on the light posts in town?
Yep, we put signs up, banners. Those yard signs you put out when you're running for office, and those campaign signs. So we have camping signs like that everywhere in town. The people wanted to put them in front of their business or their home. We had them out there at the airport. We had them everywhere, and we had little tent cards in restaurants. So whenever you sat in a meal, and this is really for the town too, because we wanted the town to understand what we were doing. We wanted the people, the residents, to know, as well as whatever they went to without us, they knew that there was attention given to that. We didn't do a lot of paid advertising. I didn't do a bunch of paid stuff. Didn't need to. But yeah, we hung signs from bridges and all kinds of stuff, and but yeah, we had flags made. We had flags everywhere that's had rah-rah on it, and it was pretty amazing. Well, and they came out here and they said, this is the safest place we can fly. Safest. Your EMS services are 1,000% better than we had in Reno. They told me at the end that we were in first place the entire time.
Really?
The entire time. We were never out of first place. They would call and say, Mike, we've got a question about this. I'd give them an answer that day.
Nice.
Like there's a family that's their house is right near the area, which is a concern for us from a safety perspective. I went to that house. I met with those people that day. And
wow, you went to people's houses.
Oh yeah. And I said, hey, it's happening. They said, well, we will for the day of the racing, we will actually, we'll get you if you got a PC, you just can't be in your house. Would you have a problem? You go, oh, absolutely not. Because we don't need to be a PC. Just let us know,
Sure.
But my point is this, you get out there and find that solution. If they have a question, give them an answer right away and tell them the truth. If you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it.
Right.
They said, hey, can we get this electrical line buried a week? I go, probably not in a week, but we'll get it done. And we did.
Sure.
So I guess it's a matter of responding every day. And I was available to them 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a bad thing, but the thing that happened was I had a lot of sleepless nights, recruiting.
Sure.
I had more after we recruited. I said, oh my goodness, they are coming, right? So,
right.
But we competed. The last 3 cities was us, Casper, Wyoming, and Pueblo, Colorado. And but from a safety perspective, from a community, all these reasons they had, and they brought in a lot of people.
Sure.
We have spent close to $20 million to get that area ready for them. And this year, excuse me, I'm still in 25. So in our first race in 25, we had about 56,000 people here.
Nice.
The economic impact was just about $30 million. We had people from 48 states.
Wow.
The 2 that weren't here, and it wasn't Alaska and Hawaii because they were here, was Vermont and New Hampshire. Hopefully they'll get shamed into being here next year, this race.
Sure.
We had 16 foreign countries. We had news media outlets from all over the world here. It was a successful event. The one thing I heard from people, and I told people this after at civic clubs, was, what I heard from spectators and racers and the rah-rah folks and the volunteers came from all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, we've never been treated this good any place we've been.
Wow. That's a huge compliment.
And you can't buy that.
Right.
I will tell you, I thought at one point that maybe I should put out a thing about, good customer service, about get your game
Right.
on. I didn't. I didn't need to.
Sure.
That's the type of town Roswell is.
Mm-hmm.
I told that to civic groups after I gave because they asked me for presentations on impact things, and I said, you should be proud of yourselves, and everyone they should be proud of how they represented this town to everyone that came here for the first time. And as a result,
and how wonderful, right? Because I mean, you said people from 48 states. Now that reputation is spreading in their communities.
Absolutely. And economically, we're getting activity as a result of it. Because now, yes, you're right. We've been known for aliens forever, right?
Right.
But now we're really being known as an aviation community.
Sure.
No, because this is the only event like this in the world. It's the only FAA sanctioned race in the country. The only one.
Sure.
It's the fastest motorsport in the world. 500 miles an hour, 50 feet off the ground. And next year, we might have a 600 mile an hour track.
Oh, wow.
Another race. 600 miles an hour. That's pretty stinking fast.
Sure. Yeah, very fast. Probably hard to watch.
Yeah. And then next year, we have the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds here.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And so they were here already. They brought one of the pilots came in with his airplane, did a big announcement here in January. And they're going to be here. And so it was an incredible achievement for the town of Roswell to see this, because this is not just a 1 or 3 year event. This is a forever home.
Right.
Forever home. And it's not the largest event in New Mexico. The first one's the Balloon Fiesta, right? The International Balloon Fiesta, which is huge. But this can get pretty darn big.
Well, it's interesting too, because you mentioned that you invested $20 million in order to get everything ready for them. But your first year, you exceeded that. You said the impact was $30 million to the community. And with this being a lifetime event, you put in a lot of effort, a lot of creativity. I love the fact that they had 300 people waiting for them to cheer them on. That's incredible. But it seems like long term, it's going to be so worth it, all the effort that was put in.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot bigger. This first year, we saw about 5,000 kids out there during STEM Discovery Day. We have a STEM Discovery Zone for kids, and we had kids here. I mean, from every school in the region. Sure. They all had different colored T-shirts on, so you can see all these bright colored T-shirts and kids. And it was so heartwarming to see these young people engaged and learn something about aviation that they probably never would have been exposed to.
Right.
Then they give out scholarships. They give out 10 scholarships.
Oh, that's great.
Yep, to area students. And we have on Fridays Military Veterans Appreciation Day. Every military veteran got a free ball cap, got a free entry. Nice. I mean, they really believe in giving back to the youth and giving back to the community. We have civic clubs in town that were volunteers, and they were paid for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they gave them they all got donations. I think the total count was somewhere over $35,000 they gave back to civic groups in the region, in the community.
That's great.
Which is really helpful, because in Reno, one group, I think it was the Scouts, could be wrong, but I think it was the Scouts. It was the only fundraiser they did all year.
Oh, wow.
Work of the races.
Wow.
Now, we're seeing that same thing right here in Roswell.
So it sounds like they're a really good community partner as well.
They are. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, I know you did say that there, obviously beyond the immediate benefit, you also saw some potential opportunities arise from it. I have a note here that you had an aviation company that might want a presence in Roswell because of the event.
Absolutely. So one of the racers who is affiliated with an international aviation company has already contacted us and ready to come over and start to build a hangar and want to bring airplanes and stuff. I can't really talk a whole lot about it, but sure. Yes, absolutely. And not just one or two airplanes, and not the ones that are racing in the event. This is a private company. Mm-hmm. So, and we're seeing more activity starting to flow, because now we have suppliers to aircraft, for parts and what have you. We're developing our FAA school that we have right here on our campus. We have a licensure program that's growing as a result. So, yeah, we're starting to see some activity, and I anticipate we'll see more. So, yeah, because once a few get started, then it's kind of like a snowball, right? All of a sudden, it's got a lot bigger than you realize. So, it's
the momentum.
Yeah, it's exciting to see it. And that was my hope. Was I knew at the beginning that we would spend a few $1,000s. Actually, we spent about $120,000 out of EDC funds, which we didn't. I didn't have my budget, but we pulled it out of our reserves, and we did it. And I mean, they did not pay. No one paid for a thing. EDC covered every expense.
Nice.
And the city did help out too, and the county, but the majority of it came from us, because what we didn't want was people in the community saying, "Oh, the city's doing this; they're spending all our money." And then, so EDC said, "Well, we're going to do that."
Sure.
Our contract is we're going to create economic development. We're going to create opportunity. We're going to create a better community. It just makes sense. So, that's how we fund it. That's how we did it. I won't say hours and meetings, probably, I don't know, weeks, days, months, and meetings. And we had meetings weekly, probably 2 or 3 meetings every week. A lot of road time, like I said, traveling and coaching people. And then a lot of work at the state capitol with our governor, with our legislative body. We were fortunate enough to I got to tell you this story. We went to see the governor and requested some funding in support of, and this is before they even announced Roswell as a home.
Okay.
She says,
you were confident, in other words.
Confident. And she says, I will give you $2 million. And if you go to get $1 million from your local legislators and you can get it to, $3 million. And we did. Our local legislators in this region says they pulled together money out of their communities that, and they pulled together so we pulled together $3 million, and that funded our grandstands. So now we have permanent grandstands that'll fit now nearly 10,000 people.
And you can use those for other things too. So that's fantastic.
Exactly right. We can use for other opportunities. I never thought I would be in the tourism market, but now I'm a little bit in the tourism market.
Right.
And it's still economic development, because that creates other opportunities. I mean, think about the caterers involved in this event. There's so many things that are involved in the impact, in the direct impact for this event, and that'll happen every year. All the rental equipment that's bought. Golf carts. I think they lease somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 golf carts.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then over 1,500 trash barrels. The sanitation, the trash collection. On and on and on and on and on. All that is impactful every year to this region. So the question I get asked a lot is, how did you fix your hotel problem? Because it's Roswell, we don't have that many hotels. We do. We have quite a few, but so we created an RV park out of the Air Center, city owned.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's got 500 parking spaces for RVs, and we even had RVs come down from Albuquerque, a company, and they rented them out like a hotel room.
Oh, nice. So they just came and parked them, and then rent the RVs already set up. Yeah, that's great. It's a smart idea. We
did a lot of out of the box thinking on how we can best support the event every year.
Sure. Well, and hopefully now that people have read about it, you'll get hotel companies wanting to come in and build there too.
Yep.
No, that's great.
Yeah, and we're from a retail perspective, service side, which I don't normally do a lot in. Normally, all my work is industrial.
Right.
Now I'm having to think, which I should. How can we support all the other activity with all the service sector? So now we're in the service sector business a little bit too, and stimulating that part of the economy, and that creates more jobs, right?
Right.
So it's all because of these air races. I think that people, started to notice us in a different light. We're more than just aliens.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a catalyst, and it'll be interesting, 10 years from now. Hopefully the reputation is at least balanced, right, between the air races and aliens for why people visit Roswell. Well, hey, Mike, we have reached a spot in our podcast, and I don't know if you would prep for this or not, but we're going to play a game.
Okay.
All right. So here's the game. So I'm going to ask you as many random questions, not at all related to economic development, in 1 minute. We're going to see how many you can answer. This is rapid fire. You can't think. You just got to answer, okay?
Okay.
All right. So here's my stopwatch here. I'm going to hit go. If you could master one skill, what would it be?
Finance.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Margaritaville.
Travel bucket list. What's on it?
Belize.
Food combination you love but is weird.
Rice with pasta.
First thing you do if you were invisible.
Fly.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
What superhero would you be?
Captain Mike.
Book you're reading right now.
Friends in Low Places.
First car.
Pontiac.
And what do you want to be remembered for?
Passion for the community.
You did it. Good job, Mike.
Those are kind of hard. I wasn't thinking. Yeah, that was kind of hard.
Yeah, you can think on your feet.
Finance. Yeah, I mean, because I do a lot of deals. I've taken the finance class, the IDC finance class, and I found it a little challenging, because I'm not an expert in finance, but I know where to go.
Right. You know who to call.
Yeah. Back to what I said way back when was, who do I call, right, when I need help?
Right. Well, you are obviously someone who likes to learn new skills. So if you're really interested in it, I have a feeling if we talk a year from now, you'll be more adept at finance. But in the meantime, of course, it's about your partners and bringing everyone together.
Well, I really appreciate you, Bethany and Nathan. Thank you so much, both of you, for today and the opportunity. I've never done a podcast, so it was like just having a conversation with you. So thank you, making it not painful. So I appreciate it.
You did a good job. I would not have known it was your first time.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here.
It's easy when you like what you do, because to me, I'm not working. I'm living what I like to do. So it's good, right? It's easy.
Right.
Thank you, Bethany. That'll do it for this episode of Shovel Talk. That's all I got. It's time to go pack. It's time for the Golden Shovel Company retreat. We're heading down to the Dominican Republic next week, and we're going to have a good time, regroup, and set our sights on what's up for the rest of 2026. But we'll be back soon with another episode of Shovel Talk.